Hi guys, I wanted to follow up on this premise that onions are dangerous and that onions are toxic and that onions do damage to your red blood cells. So what I'm going to do is I am not going to be very long with this video because I could really talk and talk for 30, 40 minutes on this issue while showing you certain websites. What I'm going to do is I'm going to um, put links in the description of this video so you can go and read the necessary documentations. I wanted to read this though. Onions contain also the relatively rare amino acid S-meth and S-prop and L-cysteine sulfoxides. It is widely agreed that N-propyl disulfide is a principal toxin that reduces the activity of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. I'm going to talk about this in a bit in red blood cells, thereby interfering with regeneration of reduced glutathione. Is a very powerful antioxidant. My son used to take this in cream form, needed to prevent oxidative denaturation of hemoglobin. We all know what hemoglobin is. Denatured hemoglobin, when developed, precipitates on the surface of red blood cells, named Heinz bodies, and triggers intra and extravascular hemolysis. This is a deterioration of your red blood cells. The hemolytic effect of sodium N propithiosulfate, which had been isolated from boiled onions, was studied in dogs by Yamamoto et al. Okay, I want to come down here and read a little bit. And again, you might say, oh, dogs and cats, but it's dogs and cats and other animals. The other animals are us, humans, but they don't say it. For some reason, they do testing on animals, dogs and cats, and not us. This might be because of economics. So let me go back up here. No, it's not here. I'm going to go back to this later. I wanted to point out something which I think that there are economic factors involved. All right. Consumption of as little as 5 grams of onions in cats or 15 to 30 in dogs has resulted in clinically important hematologic changes. Onion toxicosis is consistently noted in animals that ingest more than 0.5% of their body weight in onions at one time. Let me go down here. All forms of onion can be a problem, including dehydrated, raw, or cooked onions, table scraps containing cooked onions or garlic, leftover pizzas, Chinese dishes, any feeding stuff containing onions. Humans are the most resistant species studied. We are more resistant, of course, because maybe we developed an immunity. I don't know. On the other hand, there is some concern about the susceptibility of certain ethnic groups that have a genetic deficiency of glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase. This is an enzyme, G6PD, short for glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase. It's an enzyme that is located in the red blood cells that is very important in the regeneration of your red blood cells. So there are people with a genetic deficiency of this. This is a very, very important enzyme. I would love to talk about this, but I don't have the time. What I want to do is to go here and show you glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency is an inherited condition usually occurring in males. Guess who? It's more common in those of African and Mediterranean descent. Triggers include infections, stress, fava beans, aspirin, and other drugs, and blueberries, and some other things. But anyway, that's a story for another time. Um, what I also wanted to touch on is people with sickle cell anemia. If you have sickle cell anemia, maybe it's also an inherited disease, but maybe this is all connected. And isn't it possible that if you maybe decrease your onion and garlic intake, maybe you might not have this issue? I am going to also give you a link to this website so you can read and get some information about this. Um, this here is about the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. This enzyme is also responsible for synthesis of carbohydrates because you see glucose here. We know glucose is a sugar and it goes from glucose to carbs. So it is also responsible for the breakdown of glucose into carbs. This is a very, very important enzyme that I knew nothing about, and I found out about it. And this is why, I made the connections, and I decided to do that video. So, anyway, there's a lot to talk about. Those of you who ask me for proof, which you don't ask anybody else, which I hope you do. The fact that you asked, the fact that you did some pushback, it tells me that your brain cells are working and maybe you're not eating too many onions and garlic. But that's it. I'll see you in the next video.